The application for appointment of a conservator who is out of state. This is a unique form that's used within probate proceedings when there is an out-of-state conservator who is being sought or is seeking to become the conservator in the state of Michigan. Hi, I'm Darren Findling of the Probate Pro, and we're going to cover SCAO form PC 683M. You notice at the bottom left-hand corner with the little yellow arrow, it identifies the particular form. SCAO for State Court Administrative Office, PC for Probate Court 683M. That's just the number for the court form. Now, the various statutes and court rules are also identified at the bottom left corner to allow you additional resources to help in the completion of the form. We strongly urge you to work with a skilled, competent probate practitioner whenever using or filing things with the probate court. It will surely help you through the process. Let's work our way through it as we get familiar with what the form provides. In the top left corner is the county identified here. In the county, the venue for the probate court would be the domicile of the individual being sought conservator over. Top right corner would be the case number or judge if one has already been assigned. If it hasn't, it'll be left blank. And then, of course, the name of the form is in the top center of the red boxes. As we work our way through it, the court address is identified. Again, the county in which the individual is a resident or domiciled. In the matter of is the name of the person being sought conservator over. In the top right corner, you'll see there's a space for the last 4 digits of the Social Security number. In the old form, you used to put that information on there, but under the new rules, there is a separate addendum that is required for filing to protect personal information to ensure that the privacy is maintained. That form is called SCAO form MC97. It is a required form in conjunction with this application. The applicant's name and address and contact information, phone number is identified in the left side, and then if there's an attorney that's going to be assisting and providing legal representation in this particular application, it would be on the right side. The I is the name of the person, again, who is seeking to ask the court to be appointed. And it says, I'm interested in this matter and make this application as the individual's conservator appointed, qualified in serving in good standing in another state. So again, that language is really critical here to the use of this particular form. You're not going to fill out this form unless you're already the conservator of the individual in another state in good standing. So for example, if you're already serving in another state and you want to come into Michigan to become the conservator, this is the form that you use. Now, what's important to understand here is that in other states, the laws are different and the terminology is different. In other states, they use often the term guardian of the estate, which is fairly synonymous to what we call a conservator. Now, to best understand how this terminology generally works, in Michigan, conservator relates to conserving assets, economics, money, assets. Guardianship relates to guarding over the well-being of the individual. Oftentimes, those two documents are filed at the same time, but they don't have to be. Guardian for care, well-being, medical, conservator for finances, to conserve finances. So in this particular use case, the application is used when the person is already appointed the conservator or equivalent in another state and they're in good standing. Number 2, it says, I'm not aware of any conservatorship or pending matters within the state at the time of the filing of this application. 3, the individual was born. Again, that MC97 form would identify the date of birth because it's private information, identification of the county, of the residence, and their location. And if they have property in a particular county or within the state of Michigan, that's identified in section 3. Now, if the individual is a citizen of a foreign country, it's identified in that little checkbox. As we work our way down the form, this is the section where it identifies who the relatives are of the person being sought conservator over. So like the family tree information. If there's a spouse, if there's children, descendants, and there's a particular court rule that governs who is entitled to notice of petitions for conservatorship and applications for appointment of out-of-state conservator. That is identified as MCR for Michigan Court Rule 5.125, subsection C25. That's the court rule that identifies who has to be provided notice of these types of documents being filed with the probate court. Let's work our way to page 2. In this particular section, under number 5, there's an identification if there's already a matter pending within the jurisdiction of the family division of the circuit court involving the same family members. The idea being if there's already a matter proceeding, these matters can be joined and consolidated rather than having different matters with involving the same person with different judges. Number 6, the individual already has a power of attorney, a guardian, or a representative paid for Social Security. Those checkboxes are identified based on the particular circumstances. 7, if any of the people above that were listed are under a legal legal incapacity, the identification of those people would be listed in 7. 8 is pretty simple. Where is that person that is being sought conservator over? 9, if they're entitled to VA benefits, because there's particular rules. If they are. 10, this is a description, a basic description of the assets of the individual. 11, if they're receiving Social Security, retirement income, or VA income, or other income. The court has to ultimately identify whether there's going to be a bond and the amount of the bond. And that is typically determined by a year's worth of income plus assets that are liquid. So the court needs this information at presentation at the first court hearing. 12 is the identification of who is being sought to be the conservator and why there's a need for the conservatorship. 13 is the request for the court to appoint the conservator that is from out of state. And then there's a declaration under the penalties of perjury. This document, as well as the addendum MC97 and the fiduciary information form and other related documents that fill out the packet, get filed with the probate court, and then the court rules have to be filed or followed for purposes of the hearing on this application for the appointment of an out-of-state conservator. At the Probate Pro, we are passionate about everything probate. If you have questions about this particular form, the application for appointment of an out-of-state conservator, or any probate-related issue, visit us at theprobatepro.com or call us at 1-833-PROBATE.